I wasn't supposed to go into the basement. The landlord made that clear the day I moved in. He said if I heard anything, it was just old pipes. The way he said it didn't feel convincing. The first night was quiet. The second night, I heard it. A soft dragging sound directly beneath my room. I sat up and listened. It stopped immediately. The next morning, I checked the basement door. It was at the end of the hallway with a heavy lock on it. I pressed my ear against it. Nothing. But every night after that, the noise came back. Dragging, slow footsteps, sometimes a faint knock. One night I heard breathing. I asked the landlord. He cut me off. "Old house. You'll get used to it." That night it was worse. Heavy footsteps, pacing back and forth under me. I checked the time. 2:17 a.m. Then it stopped, and I heard something else. A voice, low, muffled, like someone speaking through a wall. The next day I bought a flashlight. That night, when the noise started, I went straight to the basement door. The sound stopped as soon as I touched it. The lock wasn't actually locked. It was just hanging there. I opened the door. Cold air hit me immediately. It smelled damp, rotten. I turned on the flashlight and started down the stairs. Halfway down, I heard it again. Breathing. At the bottom. The basement was bigger than I expected. Concrete floor, empty shelves, dust everywhere. But in the center, there were dark stains. And on the wall, words carved into the concrete. Over and over. "They're still here." I felt something behind me. I turned. Nothing. Then I saw it, a shape in the corner. I stepped closer before I could stop myself. My light hit a face. A man crouched low, staring directly at me. I stumbled back. He didn't move at first. Then he smiled. It looked wrong, like he wasn't used to doing it. "You hear them too?" he asked. His voice was dry, cracked. I couldn't answer. "They never leave," he said, glancing at the wall. "They're always here." "What are you talking about?" I asked. "My family," he said calmly. "They're still here." Something about the way he said it made my stomach drop. "You should go," he added. "They don't like new people." I ran. I slammed the door and locked it properly this time. The next morning, I called the landlord and told him everything. There was a long pause. "I was hoping he was gone," he said. "What do you mean?" Another pause. "He used to live there, with his wife and kids." My chest tightened. "There was an incident," he continued. "Neighbors called the police." He hesitated. "He killed them, in the basement." I felt sick. They never found him after. I slowly turned toward the basement door. The lock was still in place. Then I heard it, a soft dragging sound, from just beneath my feet. I knew something was off the second he got into my car. It was late, just after midnight, and I had one last ride before calling it a night. The pickup location was a quiet residential street, no lights on in any of the houses. He opened the back door without saying a word and sat directly behind me. Most people at least say hello. "Hey," I said, glancing at him in the mirror. He didn't respond, just sat there staring forward. I shrugged it off and started the trip. About a minute in, I noticed something strange. The app showed the destination, but the route kept recalculating like it didn't recognize the roads. "Bad signal," I muttered. That's when he spoke. "Don't follow that," he said quietly. I felt my grip tighten on the wheel. "What?" "The map," he said. "It's wrong." I forced a small laugh. "It's usually pretty accurate." "No," he said. "It's taking you somewhere else." I glanced at him again. His eyes were locked on me in the mirror. Something about the way he said it made my stomach turn. "Where are you going then?" I asked. "I'll tell you where to go." Every instinct told me to end the ride right there, but I didn't. I kept driving. He started giving directions. Slow, calm, like he knew the area perfectly. Left turns down empty streets, longer routes that didn't make sense. I checked the app again. The destination had changed. I hadn't touched it. "Did you update the drop-off?" I asked. "No," he said. I pulled over. "Look, I can't continue if the destination keeps changing." There was a pause, then he leaned forward slightly. "You don't want to stop here?" I turned halfway in my seat. "Why?" He didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Because this is where it happens." A cold feeling spread through my chest. "What happens?" Instead of answering, he pointed ahead. "Just drive." I should have ended the ride, but something about the empty street, the way everything felt too still, made me hesitate. So I drove. We went another few minutes in silence. Then the app updated again. Same destination as before, same street. My heart started racing. "We've already passed this road," I said. "I know," he replied. "Then why is it sending me back?" He didn't answer. A few seconds later, I saw it. A car, parked on the side of the road ahead, headlights off, engine running. As we got closer, I felt something was wrong. The driver's door was slightly open. I slowed down. "That's it," he said. "Is that your stop?" I asked. "No." I frowned. "Then why are we stopping?" He didn't respond. I pulled up slowly next to the car, and that's when I saw inside. There was someone in the driver's seat, slumped forward, not moving. My chest tightened. "Do you see that?" I said. No answer. I looked in the mirror. The back seat was empty. My stomach dropped. The door was still closed. No sound, no movement, nothing. He was just gone. I sat there frozen, trying to process what just happened. Then I looked back at the other car, and I noticed something else. The license plate. It was the same as mine. Exact same number. My hands started shaking. Slowly, I opened my door and stepped out. I don't know why. I walked toward the other car. Each step felt heavier. As I got closer, I could see the person inside more clearly. Same clothes, same haircut, same watch. It was me, slumped over the wheel. There was blood on my shirt. I stumbled back, nearly losing my balance. Behind me, my car door creaked. I turned. The back seat door was open now, and he was sitting there again, watching me. "You weren't supposed to stop," he said calmly. My heart felt like it was about to explode. "What is this?" I asked. He tilted his head slightly. "This is where you pick me up," he said. I stared at him, trying to understand. Then it clicked. The route, the looping street, the car, the body. "You're not my passenger," I said. He smiled faintly. "No," he replied. "I'm yours." I haven't spoken about this in a very long time, but it still haunts me. Me and Camila went on a long overdue holiday, and the night before we were supposed to fly back home after 2 weeks, everything changed. She got sick. It came out of nowhere. Fever, shaking, she could barely stand. At one point, she had to sit on the edge of the bed just to steady herself. I told her I wasn't leaving her like that. I was ready to cancel everything. She wouldn't let me. "It's just a day," she said. "You'll miss your flight. I'll rest and book the next one." I argued with her for a while, but she kept insisting until I finally gave in. "Text me when you land," she said. The next morning, I stood at the door longer than I should have. "You sure you'll be okay?" I asked. She looked pale, exhausted, but she still smiled. "I'll be fine. Just go." So I did. That was the last time I saw her. When I landed, I texted her straight away. No response. At first, I assumed she was still asleep. A few hours passed, then more. I called her, straight to voicemail. That's when I knew something wasn't right. I called the hotel. They told me she hadn't checked out. Her suitcase was still in the room, but her passport was gone. The police got involved that same day. They pulled CCTV footage from outside the hotel. I remember sitting there watching it over and over. She walked out late that morning. Same clothes, same bag, but something felt off. She wasn't sick. She wasn't weak. She walked normally, calm, steady, like nothing had happened the night before. Then a car pulled up beside her. No taxi sign, no markings, just a plain, dark car. She paused for a second, then she opened the door and got in. No hesitation. The car drove off, and that was it. No clear plate, no usable image of the driver. No other cameras picked it up. It was like it vanished. Weeks turned into months, months into years. They searched everywhere, followed every lead. Nothing. Eventually, the case went cold. But I never stopped thinking about that morning, about how she convinced me to leave, about how sure she sounded, and about how, just hours before, she could barely stand. It didn't make sense. For years, that footage stayed exactly the same in my head. Simple, quick. Just her getting into a car and disappearing. Until one night, I watched it again. I don't even know why. Maybe I just wanted to see her one more time. But this time, I slowed it down, frame by frame. And I noticed something I hadn't before. When the car pulled up, she didn't look surprised. She stepped closer to the window. She leaned down slightly. And then, she smiled. Not the kind of smile you give a stranger. She lifted her hand slightly like a small greeting, like she recognized whoever was inside. She even said something. I couldn't hear it, but her lips moved. Then she nodded, opened the door, and got in. I just sat there staring at the screen, because for years I told myself she got into the wrong car, that it was random, that it was bad luck. But after seeing that, I can't believe that anymore, because she didn't hesitate. She didn't question it. She greeted the driver like she already knew them, and she was never seen again.